All righty. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Christian Grayson. I am a senior account executive here at KIS. And today it's one of our learning events. The people who are not familiar with KIS, just for their gratification here, we've been around for about 32 plus years in the same city of Fremont. And so what we do is basically is help our clients keep IT simple. That's been our mantra for the whole time, and we're still doing it, and we're still very good at it. So the people who know us know that we're good at it. So today we have a guest. From time to time, we'll have a learning event, and we'll bring in one of our technology partners, and we'll go over, allow them to speak and give us a benefit of the latest and greatest that they can present to us. And today is a little bit different. We have Arrow Electronics joining us. And Arrow is one of the partners that we choose. And we do that because Arrow, as a distributor, is one of the largest distributors in the country. They carry tens of millions of dollars worth of inventory. So whenever we place an order by our clients, it goes to the distributor and they go to one of their warehouses close by. And we have, up until the pandemic, we had pretty close to immediate delivery all the time. These days, obviously, we have issues with supply chain, but things are freeing up and it's getting a lot better, hopefully back to the way that it used to be. So Arrow, the reason we work with Arrow is not only because of pricing, of course, but they also provide a lot of additional benefits. So they help us with technology, they help us with, they have experts on staff to help educate us so that we can help educate the clients. And in this case here, we have them helping us present Rubrik. It's a data protection technology. And I think you'll find it a pretty compelling presentation. And I look forward to it. So with that, I am going to hand off to Chris Anshin at Arrow Electronics, and she can provide us a little more detail about who and what they do. Over to you, Chris.
Thank you, Christian. I appreciate that. I'm not sure if you are all familiar with Arrow. We have been around just shy of, 6 years after the Great Depression. The company's had significant growth. We're a $37 billion company. We have roughly 19,000 employees worldwide. We have a significant presence in the United States. About $11.2 billion in business is done through what we call Arrow ECS, which is our distribution arm. And then we have another arm, which is our components part. So you might have heard of Arrow because of components. We also have a race car team. You might have seen that as well. We do the Indy 500 among other races, and we sponsor all kinds of technology, innovation, children's groups. We're incredibly a charitable organization. We do a lot of matching grants, et cetera, with our employees for endeavors there as well. But I wanted to share with you a real quick story, and then I'm going to hand it over to Alan, who's the brains of this whole department. I have been in the business for over 30 years. I started in distribution back in the late 80s, early 90s. I worked for a company called Access Graphics. And for those of you who would not remember that, it's the founder was Jean-Benet Ramsey's father and mother. So I was very good friends with them. So I got out of the business 9 years ago, and I raised my children who are now 17, twin girls. And my friend who worked at Rubrik came to me 2 years ago to this day. This is my 2-year anniversary, and asked me if I would come to work at Arrow and sell Rubrik, which is the product that she sells. And at first I was very hesitant because I hadn't been in the business for a long time, but I made the decision after I had lunch with her and her SE, and they explained to me what Rubrik did. And I've been in storage for the majority of my career. I was at Storage Tech for a very long time and ran the whole distribution arena there. And the technology to me was so compelling that I came out of retirement. So I just wanted you guys to understand this is a passion for Ellen and I. I I believe that the product is not just game changing, but it's world changing, in that it's doing things that no other backup recovery product can do in the security marketplace. And Alan will dive deeper into that. But I just we brought the technology to keep it simple. Last year, I was at their, which you guys, probably a lot of you were there. I was at the barbecue, and boy, was that delicious. And we had the big chocolate chip cookies. So hope to have you guys there again this year in October. It's a wonderful event. But we are a true partnership. Keep it simple, and Arrow have been growing the business. We are launched to them new technology, and they've been embracing it along the way, and therefore giving that to you all. So that Rubrik is the best technology, I believe, in the world, where, like I said, when it comes to backup recovery and security. So I'm going to turn it over to Alan. Please feel free to ask any questions, interrupt us if you don't understand something.
And let's have, before we're gonna go to presentation, let's have a trivia question first.
Okay, we'll do that, absolutely.
Yeah, and then we can go ahead. Christian, let me start the game for everybody.
Oh, the game.
Yes,
Everybody wants the game.
Keep it interactive, everybody. Keep it interactive.
Yes, and quick reminders that the first, we're gonna have 6 questions. For first 5 questions are $25 each. 1 winner per question. You can win again, so everybody have a chance to play it and win something. And of course, the final results will be sent in the follow-up thank you email along with the presentation slides and the video, and a few additional resources. Why we sending the final count on the video, on the email, because I need to pull the report out and see the stamp, the timestamp, who answered first, basically, and who answered correctly. So that way everybody has a valid valid and correct answer that they can make. All right, so let's start this. Let's have our first question go.
All right. Oh, wow, that's a good one. When was Arrow Electronics founded? I'm not sure if Chris said that, but maybe she did.
Yes, and let's play it. Is it?
Oh,
and you have,
yes.
Yes, you have 10, 8 seconds. So it's 1970, 1960, 1985, or 1935. And what we have in here. And let's stop this. And we can share it. Yeah, and the correct answer is, Christian, what do you think? It's 1935.
It was 6 years after the First Depression, I think is what Chris said.
Yeah,
think about it. So yeah, that's going to be close.
Let's do our next one.
All right. So what size organization are at the crosshairs of ransomware attacks? Boy, that's a good one. What size organizations are at the crosshairs of ransomware attacks in 2023?
And let's get this going.
Who's in the crosshairs?
I
thought everybody would be.
9,000 to 20,000, under 1,000 employees. Is it C, 1,000 to 9,000?
I want to see an all of the above.
Yeah. Time's up. Let's see it. It's C, and we can share it. A lot of people actually answer under 1,000 employees, which is very interesting.
Well, I think everybody's in the crosshairs there. Yeah. So where did that come from, Jane? Just, I'm curious. Is that according to whom?
According to Chris.
Oh. Very good.
No.
Excellent.
The Gartner Group, and they interviewed over 250 CIOs, and 80% of that mid-market is what they call that, between 1,000 and 999, will be hit by ransomware. 80% of that demo. It doesn't mean that everybody else isn't going to get hit, because they will. But they're saying this year, it's on target for sure.
So there's a
But-
focus. There seems to be a
Yeah.
focus on those organizations that size.
Yep,
Huh.
but no one is adverse to getting hacked. Let's
Yeah.
just say what it is, right?
Yeah. Fair
Very
enough.
top of mind.
Okay, well, in that case, we're going to hand off to Alan Mosley. Alan is well, he's a Arrow resident expert on Rubrik and backup technologies. So take it away, Alan. Oh, Alan, we cannot hear you.
Alan Mosley here. I'm based in Atlanta, and I cover multiple data protection products for Arrow. And thanks for letting me hop on and speak to you today. So we're keeping with the theme of fireside chat. So if you think of Charles Dickens' Tale of Two Cities, at a very high level, we just want to tell you a tale about two customers, right? And at a customer success stories are typically what people want to remember, because no one wants to be a target on their back. Like, I'm the first guy to install this product. I'm the first person to restore using this product. Rubrik is a software-based solution that has 8+ years of engineering built into it, that has all the what ifs figured out, so that when you implement this straight out of the box and you start doing data protection, meaning backups, your race to sunrise is completed, or your snapshots are being done during the day, or whatever your SLA, service level agreements, are within your organization, you define them. This data is being stored in a manner where hackers or cyberware, ransomware cannot discover and poison the repository before actually encrypting the data. And because it's immutable in the sense that it can't be poisoned, can't be altered, can't be touched, can't be deleted, can't be tweaked, can't be manipulated, can't be messed with, organizations then use this data as their first line of defense, right? Backups are just like any data center power and cooling. It's a key pillar. And if you don't have power, you obviously can't cool it, don't need to. If you can't back it up, then why do you have it powered on? So Yuba County, obviously somewhere in the Northeast, more toward, I think, Fresno, the sheriff department there had a plus 100 servers attacked. They were unable to take first level calls. And because they had Rubrik in their shop, a shop, by the way, of about 9 IT engineers, very small, but still susceptible. I mean, these guys, it's data is agnostic, right? And to them, they don't care if it's whatever, as long as you're willing to pay, they're willing to go after your information. And so this is low-hanging fruit. Some of these counties, some of these organizations that just don't have enough safeguards in place. So the data was immutable. It required that you have two-factor enabled, multi-factor authentication. And because their service level agreement was extended beyond the window of time for which the corruption began, meaning that if it happened a week ago, but they had 30 days to pull from, they were able to recover without paying any ransomware whatsoever. So, that paid for itself. One, because the requirement to the community, but more importantly, because of the sensitive data and the ability to provide services. On the other side of the coast, right, coast to coast, on the East Coast, this one is a little bit more intense because it's a little bit more detailed. 911 system and the phones. They went running around in the middle of the night, 3 a.m, trying to unplug all these servers because someone said, hey, we got an issue going on. I got a phone call in the middle of the night. And the first response was to unplug everything, well, it had already spread by that time.
So kind of
So
funny, isn't it? Because it kind of spreads almost at the speed of light, right? So I mean, once you know that it's happening, your chance of unplugging anything is really not that great. I mean, really, it's
once it's
kind of,
seeded,
yeah,
it's got roots. And so live mount, if you're familiar with recovery, live mount basically means that you can restore a backup on the Rubrik appliance, and I'll get into that just a little bit later in data of the appliance itself. But actually RDP or connect to this and make sure that the backup you want to restore before you perform the action is clean, it's got the data you need, and it's ransom free, right? So with that ability to do live mounts directly on the appliance itself, they were able to cut down the amount of time of testing and verifying by picking what they wanted, be able to restore what they needed, and be able to restore 200 plus VMs within 30 hours. And of course, no ransomware paid. That is your ROI. I mean, if your data is recoverable and the rollback period that you pick is within their level of tolerance, I mean, you're up and running. And so we left this on the website or on the screen here so that you could search Yuba, and there's a very detailed description at govt.com. So what is Rubrik? Rubrik is, like I said, it is a security company that does data protection. It doesn't have any SMB enabled. It doesn't have NFS enabled. It doesn't have SSH enabled. So those are file protocols and connection protocols. So it really is a digital vault that sits quietly on your network. And if it can't be discovered by these individuals, then they certainly aren't able to go out there and disable storage, lock it down, or things of that nature. It's being used for almost 8 years, recognized in many different areas of the world as your first line of defense, right? It's more than just good enough. It is the best in breed. And with the ability to restore from the cloud or backup and roll off data to the cloud and archive in cheap blob storage like S3 storage in the cloud, provides operational efficiency, and it minimizes risk mitigation. In fact, we're starting to see organizations that are being asked by the cyber insurance companies, what product are you using before this thing will pass underwriting in the event that they need some kind of a policy. So Gartner places this in the upper right-hand quadrant. The difference between Veeam and Commvault, that is on your server, using your storage, using your expertise, using your security awareness. All the things that you're going to do with Commvault and Veeam requires someone to be sitting in the driver's seat and making sure that that software is truly immutable backups. Whereas out of Rubrik solution, you crack the box. This can be HP storage, it could be Cisco, it can be Dell, or their preferred product, Supermicro. And with that solution on-prem, you're able to back up multiple data sets, for which I'll show you, as well as be able to back up Office 365 in the cloud.
Excuse me, Alan, can I ask a question about, you said something interesting before when you said about restoration, when we saw that sample about 30 hours. And, you can, if we're getting to it, let me know. But you said it then restored it within 30 hours and it was ransomware free that was restored. How do you check that the data that you're restoring, when you know that you have like 7 days of backups, how do you know how far back you need to go to put a clean backup back onto your system?
Sure. So when it goes in this DMZ zone, this quasi network on the appliance, you're able to actually connect to the VM. And if your files aren't encrypted, then you know it's clean. Rubrik also provides, as part of their solution, machine language learning, where it's able to look at the backups over a period of time. And if it sees a spike of reads and writes, you actually know ahead of time. So in a reaction mode, you would have to go and do your own investigation if you're not using the features, if you're not fully taking advanced feature use of the fully advanced features from Rubrik. If you are using the features for which Rubrik provides, So if you open up a file directory called documents and you do 5 reads and 10 writes every day, and then all of a sudden the next day there's 50,000 reads and 50,000 writes,
Right, I see.
it will
Mhm.
tell you in advance that this occurred. And there's
Right.
actually ways to see this over a period of time using a linear chart.
So you can then make the assumption that something has got into it,
Something
and
very abnormal has occurred.
Yeah.
Either an antivirus program scanned that directory or someone else did that shouldn't have. And in
Right.
fact, Rubrik actually has the ability to analyze the permissions that users have on the directory and give you on the Active Directory in your tenant or on-prem if you're using Active Directory, and tell you where these individuals are having access to folders so that you can make the decision preemptively. Hey, Julie in marketing doesn't need access to finance anymore because she doesn't work in that group, or why is she even in the finance Active Directory tenant?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
so there's a lot of analysis that can be done using the tools that are native to Rubrik to help keep that safeguard up in the event that you need to recover in a moment of an issue.
sorry, I didn't mean to
No problem. So this
to,
is an intermission. I think
hijack.
we're up for our next set of trivia questions.
Perfect. Perfect. Let me just share my
And by the way, is there
screen.
any questions so far? I didn't get one from the field. Anybody using Rubrik?
You can put it in the chat if
Okay.
you don't want to speak out.
Or raise your hand or,
Yeah,
Oh,
I think you could do it.
okay.
Okay.
So trivia questions. Here we go.
Yes, let's do it. Sure.
We want people to win.
yeah, we
Yes.
do.
All right, Christian, go ahead.
All right, it says Jane has shared her screen. Oh, sorry, that wasn't it.
Can you see it now?
I cannot. I see intermission.
Okay. You can screen share. Please stop sharing, Alan. Let me just, it should actually, you should just
There we go.
keep
Look at
on.
this. We're seeing it now. So
Okay, cool. Perfect.
what is the Chief Information Security Officer's main concern when hit by a ransom attack? What is the main concern besides his or her job? What
Mhm.
is the main thing that they worry about?
All right, let's do it.
Not knowing, sure. Not
Yeah.
knowing where to start looking? Or who oversees the operation, the company once the attack is verified? It's always good to have a plan, of course. Being at the front of the Wall Street Journal. Nice. Quick recovery and restoration of business operations, but can be far more expensive if they pay the ransom to the attackers.
All right, and what
Interesting.
we have? It's D. And of course, good job. Good job. Let me just clap for you
Well, yeah.
guys.
Well,
There you
obviously
go.
All clap.
getting the business
Yes.
up and running again is got to be priority one. Yeah. Cool.
All right. And of course, Chris, you can definitely, unmute yourself and let us know what's the meaning of this answer C or D. Actually, is it answer
Well,
C? Oh,
It's a
okay,
D.
never
No,
mind.
it's a D.
Yes,
Nope, it's
it's a
D.
D. Yeah, it's D. It's a D.
What I would say is that obviously all of these are concerns, but what we found is that if you don't have the ability to bring back your IP, right, your business, then I don't know what the stat is. I'll have to
Yeah.
look it up for you all, but the companies don't come back. They just
No,
clearly cannot come back.
It can be
So that's-
significant
Yeah.
downfall.
Yeah.
I mean, think about Colonial Pipeline,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
The petroleum provider for the East Coast. They
So
shut
they did-
everything down. They didn't wait to figure it out before.
Yeah, so they did end up paying the ransom, but they did have Rubrik as part of their solution in a different area. And Rubrik stayed with them 24/7 until they were back up and recovered all of their data. So
That's
and there's,
incredible.
yeah, yep. So again, it was not in their entire solution, so it took them longer to get it all back. But
Mhm.
Rubrik was there until they said we're good. That's their guarantee.
And that was many millions of dollars, even though some of it was clawed back by the feds, I believe. I have a client. Oh, okay. Let's go to the next question. Sorry, Jane.
No problem. Let's do the
Hmm.
question, and then you can tell us about the client. Yeah, just in case.
How much will
Well,
Rubrik guarantee to pay a customer in the event of a ransom attack, providing the customer has the specific configuration called out in the offer? It is the enterprise edition and working with the customer experience manager to ensure security best practices are in place. So in the event that it's all in place and it's all correct, how much will Rubrik guarantee to pay a customer in the event of a ransomware attack?
all right, let's do this. Here are the answers.
No one knows.
A,
50 bucks.
yeah. A, 100,000. B, 500,000. C, 5 million
Millions.
or 10 million. All right.
Uh,
Seconds, and that's
Survey says.
D.
Yeah,
Yeah.
$10 million. All right.
Yay. Yes.
Well, that's gonna
Yeah.
be a certain level of confidence to provide that sort of guarantee.
So Christian,
That's pretty cool.
originally it was only 5 million. They haven't had to pay
Only.
out they haven't had to pay out a single penny. They took an ad in the Wall Street Journal and they raised it to 10 million last month.
Oh, wow.
So I had a client very recently, who shall remain entirely nameless, hit by ransomware, and between the CEO and the IT, and the CIO, they decided they did not want to pay the ransom, kind of almost like out of spite. And they've spent the last 6 weeks trying to get back to where they were. So every day it's just another hurdle or something else that they have to do and take care of. And I'm not saying that you should pay the ransom. I'm just saying that not paying the ransom gets expensive over time.
Well, and when
Yeah.
you do, if you do pay the ransom, I don't know again what the stat was. I don't know if Ellen can remember, but they'll come back, right? Because
Oh, it's double digit. It's north of
Yep.
50.
Yep. So and
Where they
sometimes
come
they'll
back
still
more
be
than
in there.
once? Are you saying they
Yes.
come back more? Okay.
Yes, and they'll stay in there. So you think that you've got them out of there, and they're sneaky and they're in there. But Rubrik can detect that.
Do you really think they won't?
They got enough of your money.
Well, I guess once you pay the ransom and you get your data back, I guess you have to spend a little bit of time doing some forensics all the same to find out how they got there and how you can ensure they were not there in this data that's been restored as well, right?
And
Right.
depending what business it is, and if you publicly define it, legally, the FBI can put yellow tape around your whole business until they figure out what it is, because they want to know if this is a new parasite that they've never seen before,
Right.
right? So they will come in and, well, you can only imagine what I'm from the government. I'm here to help you.
Yeah, that's right. Very good.
I just had to share that.
Yeah.
All right. So am I on deck again? I think I am.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have share or do I take it?
You take it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right. So software as a service, right? Office 365, obviously provided by Microsoft on Azure. 300,000 plus users, or 300 million plus users a month. Oceans of data, low-hanging fruit. Who wouldn't like to be the guy on the dark web that says, I'm the one that broke Rubrik and encrypted all the Microsoft out there? Well, Rubrik has partnered up with Microsoft, or Microsoft partnered up with Rubrik. Chris, you can keep me honest here, which did first, but the key thing is that Microsoft recognizes that Rubrik is the best in class, best in breed, best in choice, and they have partnered up with them to make sure that your SaaS Office 365, software as a service, is protected in ways that Rubrik can be able to provide that. So first of all, for those that are technically inclined on the call, your SaaS instance of Office is nowhere close to being coupled with Rubrik. So your storage is not intermixed with their multi-tenant at Rubrik. It is separated. It is decoupled. So if your Active Directory tenant gets hacked by some event, they just can't open up Office 365 and start messing with your backups. That's completely separated. And so with these different ways of making sure that your data is being protected, you have the ability to set SLAs, service level agreements, that say, hey, I want the last 30 days, I want 6 months of archive, and anything older than that, I want to shell off or roll down to something like Wasabi or something else in case you need longer archive at a cheaper price. So information lifecycle management, both hot tier, cold tier, archive tier, and of course, third-party S3 storage can be turned on inside of Rubrik with the SaaS, as well as the on-prem solution. So when you look at the data sets that you can back up from, Rubrik has the ability to do on-prem with appliances or be a cloud solution that backs up data that's born in the cloud, runs in the cloud, lives in the cloud, serves from the cloud. Or it can be hybrid, right? Both on-prem and in a mix that you have out there. And it can be any one of these providers that you see, AWS, Azure, Google. And it has APIs, REST APIs, where they can trigger a backup from applications like Splunk, ServiceNow, things of that nature, to be able to ensure that those applications are being protected. And what they don't show you that I think is important for those that are in healthcare, it can be Epic, it can be Meditech, right? Any one of these EMR systems that are out there that probably one of our health records are being stored in today can be protected natively by Rubrik. So virtual machines, Windows, I just mentioned that, MongoDB, which is Cassandra, right? Type open source storage. So SLAs, you specify how often per day, per week, what the retention period is, and of course, whether or not you want to replicate that to a separate second Rubrik appliance or have that replicated from on-prem to the cloud. So I won't read all this because this is all being pretty well outlined here. So in summary, Rubrik really is a multi-tenant solution, on-prem, private, public, robo, right? Edge offices. So the core data center, the edge being remote branch, or into the cloud. And this provides protection using the best in breed for protecting secure assets in a very tightly controlled, over-engineered solution that cannot be discovered or attacked, hacked, or cracked using modern tools, either to us or to people on the dark web. And the ability to ensure that you can recover the data in case you need that first line of defense. So Rubrik can be found at rubrik.com. Chris and I are more than glad to help KIS out and provide more information to that. And so one last customer success slide, because everybody, I like to kind of finish off where I started. I talked a little bit about what happened with North Carolina and Yuba County. And let me just finish off with these 4 verticals and these 4 account names that are publicly available for reference on the Rubrik website. So with that, I pass it back to Chris. Chris, did you want to say anything in closing moments before we kind of peel off?
Yes. So the one thing I want you to know is that Rubrik is partnered with Microsoft, as Alan said, and we currently have a free 30-day trial of that software. So if you reach out to your rep at Keep It Simple, they can help you walk through that process to get that product downloaded. If you want to see a demo of the Microsoft 365 product, Alan and I have that available at the Aero Solutions Lab in Atlanta. We're more than happy to take the time to walk you through a demo so that you can see how easy it is to use. And also note that on the Microsoft 365, you know, Rubrik came in from the enterprise and went from the enterprise down. With the creation of this, you know, technology where they're working with Microsoft, and we're now coming from the bottom up as well. So a lot of the entry level markets where you guys all think that the, you know, ransomware is hitting hard, you know, that's where that product really fits and sits. And so we just want you to, you know that that's available to you, that we will, you know, make sure that we can, you know, demo that for you. And you don't have to buy an entire brick to do the Microsoft solution. You can just do software. The software sits on Rubrik's Azure cloud. It's not sitting anywhere else. It's on their own cloud. So it's protected also at your level and then also at Rubrik. So please reach out. We'd love to, you know, demo the product for you. And if you have any other questions, we have plenty of success stories for you. But please, I'd like to open it up if there's anything that doesn't make sense to you. You've got Alan here that can answer those questions for you, or anything else on my side that I can answer, I will do as well. So I just want to thank you guys for your time. I really appreciate you joining our webinar, our fireside chat.
Absolutely.
So do we have any questions? Please, you can put them in the chat box and Jane will monitor them, I think.
Yep. Otherwise, we can do the last two trivia questions.
Ah,
Yes. Yeah, okay. Meanwhile, let's do the trivia for now. Yeah. All right. Just share my screen. All right, go ahead, Alan.
all right.
If
If you have a Microsoft 365 environment, does Microsoft guarantee, if hacked, that they are responsible for the recovery of the data? Gosh, that's an easy one. So let's see the choices, Jane.
Oh yes, sorry. And let me just hear the choices, and let me launch the poll.
So
That
do
way,
you think Microsoft feel like they're going to be responsible for recovery of your data?
let's get some music going too.
It's 100% in agreement right there. Look at that.
Yes. Let's have a few more seconds. And the answer is, of course, no.
Yeah.
And good
Yeah,
job.
so
We got 100% right. Yay.
yeah, no, Microsoft will make sure that they get your data and they actually have multiple copies of it so that you can find it. But if somebody gets into it and change it or do anything or delete it or encrypt it or anything, that's kind of on you. So yeah, everybody knows that. That's a good thing.
And the last question.
Where does Rubrik fit for both security appliance and backup and recovery on Gartner's hang on. And that's Gartner's magic quadrant question mark. I think that gives the answer away right there, Jane. I think that should have been reworded. Where does it fit?
Is it top right, bottom left, top left?
So
In 10 seconds. Yeah.
If you're familiar with Gartner, if you're familiar with any of these magic quadrants, a magic quadrant is, and I don't think it's a spoiler, but it's in the top right. It always has been the top right is the magic quadrant. So
Right, and
Top
Alan showed
right.
that on one of our slides. Yep, good job.
Yay, good job, people. And we can share it. And there's some people that actually bottom right but I think they were just trying to click something. Yep. Well, let's thank you guys for coming and playing with us.
Yep.
Just last minute, if you guys have any question, do punch it in the Q&A. Otherwise, or unmute yourself and say hello. And ask it. Otherwise, thank you again for coming and enjoying our.
This is the opportunity to ask the questions of the people who know. So by all means, don't hesitate if you have like they say, there is no such thing as a silly question, right?
Yes. All right. Let's see. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Everybody. Appreciate your time.
Have a nice
Absolutely.
day.
Thanks for the window of time. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.